good evening and a warm welcome to our first edition of UBC News Tonight on this 6th day of February 2026. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto, together with my colleague on sign language interpretation, Mohammed Mugalu. We do welcome you this evening. We start off with our first story tonight. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has congratulated the people of Kabale and Uganda at large for the unwavering support given to Fronasa NRA fighters during the armed struggles that ushered into power the current NRM government. Museveni made these remarks at Kabale National Teachers College playgrounds during the 45th Tarehe Sita celebrations, attributing the sacrifices and gains made through liberation struggles. Haruna Mutesasira reports from Kabale.
Thousands of people gathered at Kabale NDC grounds to celebrate the 45th Tarehe Sita, a ceremony graced by the President, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. The President first commissioned the amendment in Kabale municipality grounds in honor of Fronasa fighters who were executed by former President Idi Amin Dada following unsuccessful attack by Fronasa fighters on Simba Barracks in 1970s. The movement recognizes gains and role played by historical Fronasa NRA members in the armed struggle that led to the liberation of Uganda. Later, the President was ushered into the venue in the company of the First Lady, Mama Janet Kataha Museveni. The armed forces showcased the mighty military parade performances by all security forces.
Thank the people of Kigezi for the enthusiasm they showed us throughout this period spanning back November. Abanyakigezi mwebale munonga.
The people of Uganda have indeed vindicated themselves very well. Well done to all Ugandans and Happy New Year to all of you. Your Excellency, on my own behalf and on behalf of the officers and men of the UPDF and the entire security system in Uganda, we offer our profound congratulations to you upon your well-deserved election victory.
During his speech, President Museveni attributed the sacrifices made by the earlier Fronasa fighters during the liberation struggles in 1970s.
Because today we are celebrating Tarehe Sita, but also celebrating the victory we had recently in the elections. We are celebrating both. Now, I started coming to Kabale in 1964 when we came to play cricket with Butobere. Then I came to Kabale in the resistance against Idi Amin when I came to see Karambuzi.
Museveni saluted the security forces for the peace enjoyed during the recent general elections, with the NRM winning over the landslide margin.
I want to salute the UPDF and the other security forces for the robust security they gave during the recent elections. They did a very good job.
The Chief of Defense Forces CDF General Hoskai Nerugaba was decorated with Kabalega Star Medal for his dignified services in the army.
The second highest military decoration is awarded for gallantry to Resistance Officer 08643 General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the UPDF Chief of Defense Forces.
Other decorated senior officers with Renzo Star medals include Lieutenant General Kanja Muhanga, Lieutenant General Charles Okedi, and Major General James Kinarwa. Tarehe Sita is the day the UPDF commemorates its transition from Fronasa NRA to UPDF, honoring the sacrifices of its fighters to Uganda's development. Fronasa fighters were the earliest recruits mobilized by Museveni in 1970s to fight Amin's regime. In attendance were top government and military officials, among others. Haruna Mtesasira, reporting for UBC News in Kabale District.
Chairpersons of municipalities and city divisions from across the country have announced plans to meet President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to congratulate him on his victory in the recently concluded 2026 general elections and reaffirm their commitment to implementing the National Resistance Movement Manifesto. Speaking during a joint media briefing in Kampala, the leaders said that the meeting will also serve as an opportunity to pledge their support for the 2026-2031 NRM socio-economic agenda and to discuss strategies for strengthening service delivery at the grassroots level.
Chairpersons of municipalities and city divisions aligned to the National Resistance Movement have pledged total commitment to implementing the party manifesto. The leaders said they plan to meet President Yoweri Museveni to congratulate him on his victory, pledging their support to the 2026-2031 NRM economic agenda, while discussing ways of strengthening service delivery in municipalities and cities across the country.
We are ready to meet the President to discuss more about proper service delivery for Ugandans. We want to celebrate His Excellency's win.
We are heading to Muzeyi. Of course, we know he's waiting for us.
We want to celebrate His Excellency's win with him.
N'abantu babiri batina batakunera ngo tusokutunga egg percentage. So nabweki twinakora ngo twamutabarukya umurutaro rwarugiremo kandi na hatukutanaka ku planning emyaka 5.
But today in the recently concluded elections he has gotten in this urban authorities 75 plus.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the NRM Pressure Group Network Uganda, Frank Serubiri, has called on the president to consult people on ground before appointing cabinet members. These remarks were made during the launch of the NRM Pressure Group Network Uganda, where NRM representatives from different parts of the country gathered to celebrate President Yoweri Museveni's victory.
When President Museveni is electing leaders, he needs to come on ground to ensure that he appoints the right people. When he appoints people, he appoints those who fail to deliver.
Members of the pressure group also appealed to the president-elect to recognize their contribution towards the victory, saying they played a key role in mobilization and campaigning during the elections.
Our aim is to thank the NRM family for voting President Museveni. But in voting him, he raised that the people who worked hard for the 71% worked in vain without any support. Now we expect to be rewarded since we got a win.
And we are called upon the President of Uganda, please come down and look for these people. They have done a lot of good job. We've seen that you've achieved 70%, 71%.
Government is intensifying efforts to fast-track agro-industrialization by strengthening partnerships between agriculture research institutions and private investors. The National Agricultural Research Organization, NARO, is engaging large-scale agribusinesses to provide research-backed solutions aimed at boosting productivity, value addition and farmer incomes across key value chains. We have the details.
A delegation from Naro, led by the Director General, Dr. Yona Baguma, visited various agro-business enterprises with the aim of deepening collaboration and boosting value addition. Among the enterprises visited are Amaf Farms in Mitiana, venturing in macadamia production, Clark Mixed Farm in Chenjojo, Njojo Agro-Based Industries, the only processor of Hass avocado oil in Uganda. Dr. Baguma said the engagements align with President Museveni's directive to use innovation as a driver of socio-economic transformation, reaffirming Naro's commitment to ensuring research directly supports industrial growth and inclusive development.
We are coming together at Naro and Amafa to see how best we can improve productivity of this plant. The plant is faced with a number of challenges. One, it must be developed based on a reliable seed system. Naro and Amafa were interested in investing in a reliable seed system. Together with Naro and Amafa, we want to work out a system on how to increase the yield per acre by manipulating the plant population. Together, Naro and Amafa, we want to address the most challenging problems of pests and diseases.
Amaf Farms Managing Director Movia Sim said global demands for macadamia nuts far exceed supply, presenting a major opportunity for Uganda.
The company specializes in cultivating and processing of high-quality macadamia nuts for the local and international market. Local people have started eating and the demand is growing, and international, the demand is unbelievable. You have 100 tons and they'll fight for 1,000 tons. That is the range. It is actually the supply is, it is undersupply in the world.
Dr. Baguma emphasized the income potential of macadamia farming, noting that a single acre can earn a farmer up to 22 million shillings annually.
A farmer from 1 acre, where he happens to be growing 100 plants at an average yield of 75 tons per plant, and at a cost of 75 kilograms per plant, and at a cost of 3,000 shillings per kilogram, a farmer is able to comfortably get 22 million shillings annually from this plant.
At Clark Farm, discussions centered on developing a lowland Arabica coffee variety to meet premium international market demand. Mary Namkose, UBC News.
The Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited has restored electricity supply in Buyaya, Chitojo Village, Buama Town Council, Mpigi District, following alleged vandalism of power infrastructure by politicians in the area after losing elections. The distribution company clarified that electricity distribution infrastructure remains government property regardless of individual contributions made during power extension initiatives.
After 2 weeks of darkness in the Buyaya Kitojo village, Buama Town Council in Mpigi District, the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited has restored power supply to the affected community. The blackout is attributed to vandalism of electricity infrastructure, specifically the cutting of 3 power poles and distribution cables supplying to the area.
Our teams hit the ground to ascertain the cause of the fault because we received it as an outage alert. But on reaching the ground, we realized that 3 of our electricity poles had been vandalized by unknown people. We reported the matter to police, and a police case has been opened in Buwaya Police Post, which is CRB 0114, the case of vandalism.
Residents allege that the vandalism was orchestrated by politicians who lost in the recently concluded elections.
Yajja mu ofisi yange nga ssentebe w'ekyalo n'antegeeza amasannyalaze tegakyambala, n'olwekyo ngenda kujjako Dennis Bugaya kubanga ye alina faamu y'enkoko, amasannyalaze gaatwala mangi nnyo, njire nga ndekako ekyalo naye n'atayita mu nkola nga bw'erina kuba kubanga yandibadde awandiikira ab'ekitongole. Naye yajja n'amuggyako Council Dennis Bugaya, bwe yamala omuggyako n'ayita mu kitongole ky'amasannyalaze ne basobola okumuzzaako ebamwozaako ate fena natugirako ddala ng'asinza ku transformer ye.
The power distribution feeder was initially established with the support from the Maukuta South Member of Parliament, Yusuf Onsibambi, who lost the seat in the recent elections to NRM's Susan Nakauchi. Community members allege that following his electoral defeat, Nsibambi had issued warnings about possible power disconnection.
Atuzenga batugamba nti kirabika kubanga Council Dennis Buga yaleka alina omuntu gwe yawagira omulala atali Council Yusuf Nsibambi. Embeera nebeera bweto wayita ebbanga ttono amasannyalaze ne gaddako. Council Dennis Buga yanaayaka bwe yayaka tugenda okulaba ng'ekyalo kyonna kivuddeko.
UEDCL used the engagement to sensitize residents on the ownership and protection of electricity infrastructure.
So the first deception that we want to demystify, that anyone owns a transformer and they have a right to turn off customers or even cause unnecessary blackouts in the communities where these assets are resident. It is illegal, and also customers can take up their responsibility to sue that person who has switched off electricity deliberately without clear justification from the utility.
Whoever commits an offense, mukubire chairman esimu osi nange mukubire saje that oyo muntu tumuje mu banji tumuteke jali no kola ki okubera.
UEDCL, in collaboration with security committees and area police, has committed to strengthening cooperation to ensure the safety of power infrastructure and stable electricity supply. Abdunasele Lobama and Regan Ahumza for UBC.
More than 4 decades after the 1981 liberation struggle, Uganda's story of sacrifice and resilience continues to be retold, this time through music. One song, Yebare Muzeyi, has resurfaced, paying tribute to President Yoweri Museveni and the men and women whose decision to go to the bush altered the country's course. The project was partly spearheaded by veteran musician Sister Charity, who says this song was born out of memory and a deep desire to preserve the liberation story for generations to come. Take a look.
Hangara, it means stay longer. That legacy has to be there.
In the early 2000s, Sister Charity was a familiar voice on Ugandan radio. Widely known for her hit song, Grades.
Nituchimanya jetwena bachara wechikaze ichiba chibeche chisheija Indi mushomesani ngomwejesa Onka basheija neija kubejesa no kubodeka.
She later shifted her focus from popular music to themes of history and national reflection.
Yebare Muzeyi n'abagenzi bawe kuzahura Uganda mukahangare.
The memories of young people who abandoned classrooms for the battlefield never left her. That sacrifice became the foundation for turning liberation history into song.
I remember it is me who got these words, ba mujuni, ba mutambi, ba muchunguzi, as in ba savior, ba rescuer, ba healer. You know, they healed Ugandans from those wounds.
Yebare Muzeyi was crafted as a tribute, not a campaign anthem. A familiar melody was reworked to carry a message of gratitude, remembrance, and national pride.
For us, we did it as a contribution, you know, as a contribution to this government, to those heroes. So I won't say that we tried to meet any government official about this song.
Artists from different districts were brought together, reflecting the national character of the liberation struggle.
That is why we looked at this Mchiga girl, Musimenta Florence. She's an NRM girl, if I may say. She was first on our list. Then we thought of going to Isinjiro. We got Nabasa Lilian. She was trending, and she's still trending anyways, but still loving government. So yeah, like we can also have her in. Then we thought of Mbarara district. That was him, Lauben Tuijuche. Me, I'm from Shema. And then we got one from Ntungamo. So we started from Rukunjiri, Ntungamo, Isinjiro, Mbara, then Shema. We are 5 guys.
The song also highlights liberation fighters, faces many Ugandans recognize, but whose names history was slowly beginning to forget.
That there was this Pandagari, those army men could like rape women, they could cut people's heads, you know. It seems it was a so bad situation by then. And these guys going to the bush, they were against such acts.
Recorded quietly during the COVID-19 pandemic, the song entered the public space with little attention. By 2026, as Uganda marks another Tarehe Sita, it has taken on renewed meaning.
We are one of the Ugandans who work at night. Most of the time we do our shows at night. You find that you can go a very long distance at night, even at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and no one happens to like disturb you on the way. So I think they also like this government for that.
Sister Charity says the project was voluntary and unfunded, though it stirred debate on who was mentioned and who was left out.
And some of these guys are still alive, mark you. And for those who are no longer alive, at least they have sons and daughters. So people appreciated, they loved, and holding the name YKM7 itself, really it was so relevant. The guy who is still here, the judge who is still trending, the judge who is still in power. So that is how it came to be popular.
Despite the challenges facing message-driven music today, the mission remains unchanged to keep the liberation legacy alive.
For us, what we do, it's a matter of staying strong, staying focused, seeing on the future generation to see what they can find. A few of us who can do. So that is why we are trying to, again, sing message, though it is not all that much welcomed like any other kind of songs.
As Uganda commemorates Tarehe Sita, Yebare Mzee stands as a reminder that the freedoms enjoyed today were earned through sacrifice. Henry Okrut, UBC.
UBC News Tonight. In more stories this evening, Islamic women across the country have been urged to fully embrace and effectively utilize the 2 billion shillings presidential grant extended to Muslim women through Salam Bank as a means of increasing household incomes and promoting sustainable economic development. The call was made by the national chairperson of the Uganda Muslim Women Council, Hajat Sophia Kenyanji Safina, while addressing Muslim leaders from Ankole and Chigezi during a capacity building workshop on SACCO development, formation, and the implementation of the presidential grant. We have more.
The national chairperson of the Uganda Muslim Women Council, Hajat Sophia Kenyaji Safina, has emphasized that the funding is fully Sharia compliant and free of riba, encouraging Muslim women to save, invest, and finance projects based on ethical, profit-sharing ventures rather than interest-based lending.
Salam Bank has not yet reached most of the parts of Ankole Chigezi, but here in Mbarara we have it. There is also mobile banking which they can access. Even in those areas where there is no network, they can always receive their money on their mobile, like how PDM model worked, so that we are able to every circle to access its funds.
She noted that the initiative targets improvement of the economic status of Muslim women through the formation of circles, beginning at the household level.
Women have formed circles, they are doing very well. Others are in the process of formation. Circle. So they are opening their eyes now to see the agenda of NRM government of circle formation and development, and developing the people at the household level.
She further explained that the president grant aims to strengthen household incomes and enhance the overall economic well-being of Muslim families through Islamic financial principles.
Circles have been formed. Circles have received we carried out capacity building, regional, district, and national. So now we have rolled out circles in the districts, have received their money, and we are going ahead to keep on training them on how to use this government fund.
Meanwhile, the director of Emirates Nursery and Primary School Lugazi, Mbarara, Mrs. Zainab Kaladi Chobutunji, called on Uganda Muslim Supreme Council to expand the financial management training programs to equip more Muslim women with practical economic skills.
Abakyala nabo mu nterejo hati bahirwa mani okugira ngo babasa kweguza sente kandi bazikore bino mutima mulungi obitwasha mahwaha abakyala abantu bongerwa okubangurwa.
The chairperson of Uganda Muslim Women in Ankole and Chigezi, Mrs. Sakina Imam Ampaire, commended the president for supporting Muslim women through the grant.
Nkanyo mukyala ninshemererwa munonga kureba ngu nitwe kandi ngaruka nsima president munonga kureba ngo nkitwa abakyala b'abasiramu akatwijuka yatwiho mu biyungo yo twabire turi nimpa myaka kasenta katuherize nikija kutwihayo habo kuba bindi babire nibasibo muka batine cyo bakora.
The Secretary for Social Affairs at the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, Mbarara District, Mrs. Nuriat Musoke, also emphasized the need for proper utilization of funds to achieve lasting socio-economic transformation.
Educate a woman, you have educated a nation. So as Muslim women, this is time that we want to know more, and we want to learn more, and we want to develop. So through our leadership, or through the leadership of Honorable Sophia Kenyanji.
The workshop was held at the Uganda Muslim Regional Mosque in Kashenyi, Nyamitanga, Mbarara City.
Witwa Murungi, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni atira abakyala abasiramu tuliyo nitushoma mboni yenda kuhiga abakyala omushomo guba tushomesa aha ntwenda tugutware nkakikuru muno.
So mukyala.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later.
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get more goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
It's back, bigger and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
When you want to relax your body and refresh your mind, welcome to Hotel La Confidential, Aroa's premier destination for luxury and comfort. The only hotel in Aroa City offering a serene atmosphere, breathtaking scenery. Come and discover our exclusive wellness club with packages that include a fully equipped gym, a rejuvenating sauna, steam bath, and a great sky blue swimming pool. For events, our state-of-art conference halls and versatile event spaces are perfect for hosting shows, wedding receptions, birthdays, and more. Come and enjoy our cinema hall and unisex saloon, all designed to meet your entertainment and grooming needs. Bring your family and let your kids splash around in our beautiful kids water park. We are located on Aroa Pakwachi Highway in the heart of Aroa City. Don't wait. Visit us on www.hotellaconfidential.com or call us on 0761 688 181.
Welcome back from that break. In more stories this evening, the National Peasants Party President, Robert Kazimoto, has filed an application before the Supreme Court seeking permission to withdraw the 2026 presidential election petition he lodged against NRM's General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the Electoral Commission, and the Attorney General. Kazimoto cites financial constraints as the main reason for the withdrawal, saying the petition has become too costly to prosecute. He further says that although he had been promised financial support and evidence by other political parties, the commitments failed to materialize. We have the details.
The Supreme Court justices had scheduled to deliver a ruling on two applications filed by Robert Kazimoto, one seeking access to data from the biometric voter verification kits held by the Electoral Commission and seeking evidence from President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Court also expected to rule on Kazimoto's request to cross-examine the Electoral Commission chairperson and the Deputy Attorney General, Jackson Kafuzi. However, despite all parties appearing in court, the respondents were taken by surprise when Kazimoto, through his legal team, revealed that he had already filed an application seeking to withdraw the petition.
So we are saying we wrote letters, which we are going to share with you, to all political parties to have evidence, to support us with evidence in that area. But most of them were adamant, but they did not all support us. And we said no. And we saw where we are going in this money, which we didn't have.
Kazimoto explained that Prosecuting the petition will require him more than $5 million and navigating complex legal procedures, which is said he could no longer sustain.
Now, this case, to petition a case in a Supreme Court, you need like $3 billion. I sold all what I had to have this case filed here. Now, adding more $4 billion, that means I'm going to be announced a bankrupt.
He therefore asked the Supreme Court to grant him permission to withdraw the petition. Following the development, proceedings could not continue. The justice held a 15-minute cross-door meeting with all parties, after which the Attorney General Chiriwa Chiwanuka addressed the media.
Everything that is done here in election petition is done very fast. So once the court tells you we're waiting, the court requires us to file our responses, and we're going to file responses immediately. As you may realize, we file opposing the application, we file opposing the petition. So from the Attorney General's, for the Attorney General's part, we don't intend to oppose.
Oh, wow, okay.
The Attorney General expressed disappointment, citing that time and resources already expended by the respondents.
Of course, we put in a lot of time and work. We were ready for the hearing. If you were here the last time, we did make our arguments on the application. We filed voluminous responses to the application. So yes, we obviously will be affected.
The Electoral Commission's lead lawyer, Mwesigwa Lukutana, said he was not surprised by the move, arguing that the petition lacked merit from the outset.
We're not happy because we took a lot of time doing research. Then as lawyers, we had expected the precedent because we had guided the court in our submissions on how to treat this application. And if this Supreme Court pronounced itself on the matter, then as lawyers and the country would get precedents on how such a application should be handled.
Kasibante, however, vowed to chant a new source of action following the withdrawal of the petition.
Phase 1 ewedde tugenda mu phase 2 enendemeredde betwali tusuubira nti bagenda kunnyambako kakati ngenda ku kyakubiri kyeseetaaga bannayuganda kunnyambako okuggyako abo abakkiriza mu byenkola ki byenzikiririzaamu. Mwami Kyagulanyi gobeera eyo nangenda kubeera eno.
If formal responses are filed, the Supreme Court justices are expected to resume hearing next week to give further directions. In his main petition, Robert Kasibante had asked the Supreme Court justices to nullify President Museveni's election, citing alleged election irregularities, voter bribery, security agency involvement, and claims that voting took place in more than 15,000 non-gazetted polling stations. Deborah Namamonde, Viola Nansubuga, UBC News.
President Yoweri Museveni says 70% of Ugandans are now part of the money economy, a sharp rise from just 9% at independence, attributing the shift to 4 decades of NRM-led structural transformation. But beyond the headline figure lies a deeper question. What does being in the money economy truly mean? And what must Uganda do next to turn participation into real asset and wealth creation at scale? Wadulo Mark Arnold with more.
Now, 70% of the people are in the money economy now.
President Museveni traces Uganda's economic journey through 5 stages, from post-1986 recovery after years of collapse, rebuilding the productive base destroyed during the Idi Amin era, to diversification beyond subsistence agriculture, value addition of raw materials, and now the emergence of knowledge-based industries, including automotive assembly and ICT.
From the colonial times, at independence, the figure they gave me were 9% in the money economy. Now, when we came, still a small number of the people were in the money economy. The majority were outside the money economy.
He notes that the economy has sustained average growth of about 7%, with projections of double-digit expansion as oil production, industrial manufacturing, and regional trade deepen.
The money economy, investing in profitable ventures, having money for yourself. We are looking at a farmer maybe in the village who you have given a 1 million per PDM, that fund of PDM that they receive the 1 million. Ideally, the reason for giving them that 1 million is getting them into the money economy so that they can, you get involved in business and try to grow that money.
Government's economic empowerment programs like NADS, Entandikwa, youth livelihood programs, women entrepreneurship programs, Emyoga, and the parish development model have helped expand the money economy participation from 32% in 2013 to over 60% by 2019. This means that more households now earn incomes, use mobile money or banks, and buy goods and services rather than relying solely on barter or subsistence production. But economists caution that being in the money economy is not just about earning cash.
Now, in my estimate and view, I think that, for example, at the parish level, we could do some programming so that we know that there are so many people in the parish and they need food, and they need housing, and they need clothing. Is there a way we can program the parish so that everyone in the parish is accounted for in terms of employment, in terms of work, in terms of production, in terms of access to the goods and services that are being produced? So I think leaving it saying to the market, I think, in my opinion, is outdated.
Without strong productivity and market access, cash participation risks remaining low value, high effort survival work rather than wealth creation. This is where rural Uganda becomes a decisive frontier. While most empowerment programs target rural areas, production remains fragmented. Inputs are inconsistent, aggregation is weak, and value addition is limited. Unless rural households are connected to reliable markets, processing facilities, storage, and financing, government's economic empowerment programs risk delivering short-term relief rather than long-term transformation.
So the government must be also clear on identifying the needs of specific households, specific regions. What is their need? Cash. The need might not be cash. The need might be a road, a bridge, that somebody is not able maybe to transport their milk over the bridge. Otherwise, the cash might be redundant.
For Uganda to reach bigger heights in asset and wealth creation, experts argue that the next phase must focus on turning villages into production units, not just beneficiaries, linking farmers to regional and continental value chains, scaling agro-industry, mineral processing and manufacturing, and convincing the population to join the money markets.
Africa is 18% global population, but we are only 2.2% global GDP. So that means that there is a disconnect. And to me, that's the opportunity I see. If we focused on business and emphasized how do we become part of the global economy. And to me, we shouldn't be looking at government. These are things that I think now capital markets should feel in terms of this infrastructure. Imagine if Ugandans had raised money for Bujagari. Now imagine the wealth that we have created for Ugandans.
The 70% milestone signals real progress, but the final test lies ahead, whether Uganda can convert participation into productivity, income into assets, and national growth into continental relevance. Wadulo Arnold Mark for UBC.
Nakawa Chief Magistrates Court has charged and remanded National Unity Platform NUP Electoral Commission Chairperson for Buganda Region, John Mary Sebufu, to Luzira Government Prison. John Mary Sebufu was charged with one count of inciting violence, to which he pleaded not guilty to the charges.
Following his disappearance from the public on 14th January 2026, until yesterday, the National Unity Platform Electoral Commission Chairperson for Buganda Region, John Mary Sebufu, has been paraded at Nakawa Chief Magistrates Court for plea. Sebufu, who was before Chief Magistrate Nambozo Sanura, was charged with one count of inciting violence. Sebufu pleaded not guilty to the alleged offense, However, prosecution, led by Mahatima Odong, asked court for more time to complete their investigations. Although Sabufu's legal team was set to apply for him bail, this was impossible since the application to seek leave was objected by the prosecution.
We made a bail application, or we tried to make a bail application, but court kept on insisting that they need leave. We need to seek leave of court to make a bail application. That is unheard of. We have never seen any bail application where we have to first seek leave before making it.
Sabuf tried to explain to court how he was arrested and detained, but all was in vain. Magistrate Nambozo Sanuna remanded him until 17 February 2026, when the case will resume for mention.
To that extent, I agree entirely with the prosecution that these allegations are unfounded. And it's now 2:55 p.m.
After court talking to Sabufu's legal team, they expressed concern how court has proceeded with the matter.
Of course, there is a fear that simple offences, as they have been charged with of incitement of violence, do not stand. But the plan is that these people should still be kept on detention and remand. We have so much of a big problem with, because you're claiming that a person like John Mary Sevufu was in Mpigi, and that is why he incited people. And then you produce him in a court in Kampala. The jurisdiction of this court would then be questioned.
In another development, Mengo Chief Magistrate's Court, before Magistrate Lauryn Ajuna, has dismissed 2 applications filed by Nopos Julius Katongole and Ivan Katumba against NRM's Kabugo Bone and Ibrahim Mugira, challenging their victory as Lord Councillor-elects for Lubaga and Mutunde Parish divisions respectively. The petitioners alleged voter bribery and failure by the returning officer to tally the election results as per the results from the respective areas. To the division Tarehe Sita, Chief Magistrate Lauryn Ajuna agreed with the respondents' legal team that her court has no jurisdiction to handle applications of ordering a vote recount in the local government elections. The National Resistance Movement supporters and respondents were happy with the ruling.
Kino nkyolekeza eri mu miransanafu nti balooya bakozesa awaba omusango nga ne muteeka mu bawaabira etteeka teririiyo.
Ndi musanyufu nnyo olw'obuwanguzi bwe tutuuseeko. Twanoonya akalulu ne tukawangula bulungi nnyo ne tugenda gye baali bakabalira naye tukawangulirayo.
The petitioners' legal team was led by Alan Seluwu, who spoke to UBC TV after court.
Ekiddako candidate, of course, amateeka go gali open, gatuwa options nyingi. So kaakati tugenda kwogeramu n'ekirala nti waffe tulabe step eddako naye zimu ku step eziriko awo eziddako yakuteekamu gye bayita election petition.
Ffe tugenda kwongera amaanyi. Tukkiriza nti lino eggwanga teryali waggulu w'amateeka. Era oli webanga ddala kituufu twamuwangula, tukkiriza nti tujja kufuna amazima n'obwenkanya mu kkooti wano ewaffe.
Deborah Namamonde, Viola Nansubuga, UBC News.
Renowned author Stanley Johnson has completed 10 days in Uganda, where he toured various places and was notably hosted by President Yoweri Museveni, whom he hailed as exemplary.
The past 10 days for Stanley Johnson who is the father of former United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson, have been of splendor as he toured Uganda. From visiting religious sites like Lubaga, Gaddafi Mosque, Namirembe and Namugongo, Stanley was hosted by President Yoweri Museveni, whom he hailed.
Well, yes, the highlight was the fact was when we went on a visit to the State House and were received by the President Museveni. It was fantastic. I would say that we had about almost an hour's discussion with him in the splendor of the State Room, and that was that was something definitely worth having. Very funny, very enjoyable. Really enjoyed talking to him, and he told some very funny stories, which I won't go into here.
A stop at Uganda's tourist sites in Gahinga and Kibale will resonate forever to a man whose passion for the environment is second to none. He also toured and learned about Uganda's industrial trajectory at Namokekera, and also visited the Meta and Madivani families that have lasted decades in business.
I take home that this is an extraordinary country. It was not by accident that Winston Churchill described this as the Pearl of Africa. It is the Pearl of Africa. I've been here a couple of times, but this is the first time I've had a long visit looking at different places in detail. Some of them I've been to before, particularly Kibale. I've also been across the lake and to Gamber Island and things like that. But for me, the long visit we had in Mahinga, and also in the chimpanzees in Kibale and in the gorge, and the wonderful boat trip on the canal. When I say the canal, the channel between Lake George and Lake Erie. These have been highlights from the natural history point of view, realizing that Uganda does have an astonishing resource. Of course, the gorillas, the chimpanzees, these are absolutely exceptional. And I've got to say, as far as the mountain gorillas are concerned, they're really unique. Yes, there's some in Rwanda, some in the DRC, Virunga Park. But here, what you have, and I went to 4 of the lodges, for example, run by Volcano Safari. Volcanoes, a family business almost, said it's been going over for the last 40 years. For me, it was also extremely interesting to see some things which are not actually just the wildlife things. For example, I visited ginger. I visited the Madvani enterprises, or the sugar enterprises, the gin-making enterprises.
His visit was initiated by the Uganda High Commission UK and saw him interact with the British High Commissioner to Uganda.
This would never have happened unless Nimisha Madvani, who of course is the distinguished High Commissioner in London, and her close associate Miriam Tengo, if they had not worked day and night. In a way, it was like, getting someone to the top of a mountain. You don't see all the hard work which goes on, all the Sherpas, all the hard work, all the telephoning, all the arrangements. I've been the lucky one. I've just been able to appear from time to time. But getting me to these places has required an awful lot of effort, and that effort, I've got to say, has been principally borne by the Ugandan High Commission, and particularly the 2 ladies whose names I have just mentioned.
He also lauded Uganda Tourism Board and agencies like Volcanoes and Uganda Airlines for a tour that will remain etched in his memory. But despite touring major establishments, he craves a return to Uganda that will educate him more about other regions of the country.
For me, there's some things I feel I want to see and haven't seen this time. I've not yet been up into what you might call the Nilotic regions of Uganda. And I can see that what will be interesting here is not just the variations of wildlife, but also the variations in terms of the people. This is something which interests me a lot. What you realize when you come to this country is actually this is a country which very much reflects its heritage. It is, if you like, a collection still of kingdoms. I've been lucky here to have seen so much about the Baganda kingdom, but I do realize that there are other massively important kingdoms in Uganda which make the whole, as it were, collection of kingdoms, and I look forward to seeing some of those kingdoms in more detail than I've done this time.
Under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ugandan agencies abroad are mandated to promote the country. This, the High Commission in the UK has done, and will continue next week with another delegation that arrives for an education program with Makerere University.
What's wonderful is that we've just been hosting a pioneer of United Kingdom in Uganda, Mr. Stanley Johnson, who is an advocate for the environment and protection of the environment, wetlands, which is completely synchronized with what our head of state, President Museveni, also advocates. And seeing the mountain gorillas at this stage, to see how beautiful our country is and to recognize where we are in our development strategy, which is what I had said right at the beginning when Mr. Johnson came, that Uganda is on a trajectory of growth, on tourism, on the environment, and it is a country that is reborn. And as he goes away back to London on Uganda Airlines, it shows also that we have given Uganda Airlines a rebirth. And what Winston Churchill said, the pearl of Africa, he carries that pearl back to United Kingdom, and he's going to help us make it shine even more.
Particular gratitude to the UK High Commissioner, Lisa Chesney, who gave us really a wonderful lunch, and we were able to talk together. H.M. Stanley was here. You know, Murchison was here. For me, it's very moving.
UBC News Tonight has come to an end. Do join us for much more stories in our second edition. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto, and my colleague Mohammed Mugalu will see you at 10.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Ginshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning. Eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now.